and I hope you had a restful weekend and also a good break. It was not a break for the commissioners at all. There were lots of activities that were undertaken by the commission. Yes, I have. Yeah. I was just being reminded that needed to connect them with the Lord. So, Imam, we would do that. Actually, I was just opening and then ask the religious leaders to offer prayers, please. Imam Jallo, please go ahead.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين الله الذي جعل لكم الأرض قرارا والسماء بناء وصوركم فأحسن صوركم ورزقكم من طيبات ذلكم الله ربكم فتبارك الله رب العالمين هو الحي لا إله إلا هو فأدعوه مخلصين له الدين الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you very much, Imam Jallo. Bishop, you have the floor, please.
Thank you, Chairman. O Lord, our Governor, how excellent is thy name in all the world. We adore you, we praise you, we glorify you, we magnify your most holy name. We continue to thank you for this nation, the Gambia. We submit all authorities under your guidance and direction. We submit this commission under you, and we also submit all the witnesses who will be testifying in the TRRC under your direction, your guidance, your protection. And so, Lord, as we go on our sittings, we ask that the Holy Spirit will guide and direct each and every one of us, that we'll be able to bring out the truth, and that in bringing out the truth, we'll be able to bring about reconciliation, healing, reparation, and in your name, justice will be done for all. And so we ask that you bless these proceedings. In Jesus' name we pray with praise and thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Bishop Odiko, for those prayers. We will now proceed with our morning session. Before doing that, we would need to I would need to read on behalf of the Commission a statement launching the fourth session of this Commission, or the public hearings that we have been having. This is the fourth session that we are starting. And as on previous occasions, we would recall some highlights of the third session in this situation, and what the program is for the fourth session. So on behalf of the Commission, I would read a statement that we would put on record. The TRRC concluded its third session of hearings on Thursday, March 28. 18 witnesses were heard during this session, bringing the total number of witnesses appearing before the Commission so far to 43. 7 of them women. In addition to some senior military officers, 2 sitting civilian ambassadors testified before the Commission during this session. The hearings are focused mainly on the November 11 and the Korosise incidents, but testimonies were also heard concerning circumstances surrounding the July 22nd, 1994 coup. The fourth session, which starts today, Monday, April 8th, will end on Thursday, April 25th. As we start this fourth session, we expect to hear more testimonies on the November 11th and the Korosise incidents. Our work plan for this session includes the possibility of hearing testimonies from persons who have been adversely mentioned by witnesses in the hearings since the hearings began on January 7th, 2019. We wish to inform the general public that all persons who have so far been adversely mentioned have been or will soon be served with notices of adverse mention. Barring voluntary offers to appear and testify, some of these individuals will be invited to appear before the Commission and, if necessary, subpoenaed to do so. The end of this fourth session will be close to the beginning of the month of Ramadan, during which the Commission will suspend hearings. However, committee work, investigations, outreach, and other important activities will continue during the month of Ramadan. While most of the hearings during the third session focused on November 11th, witness testimonies heard during that session have helped the Commission build a fuller picture of the circumstances surrounding the July 22nd, 1994 coup. In particular, the testimonies have thrown much needed light on the institutional failures, policy lapses, and poor judgment. We have also heard testimonies suggesting a swift disillusionment within the ranks of the July 22nd coup makers that culminated in the tragic events of November 11, 1994. The need to adhere to the rule of law under all circumstances will certainly be a key component of the TRRC's interim and the final recommendations. Unlike our first two sessions, the third session saw the welcome appearance of 7 female witnesses before the Commission. 5 of these witnesses testified in person, while 2 of them testified via video conferencing from the United States and the United Kingdom. We are very grateful and encouraged by the leadership, courage, and example displayed by these brave women who have suffered so much in silence for so long. We are happy that these courageous women were able to share their painful experiences with the general public and also to give us their extremely helpful side of the July 22nd and the November 11 stories. The stories of families devastated by acts of lawlessness, but also stories of unshakable faith, bravery, resilience, and remarkable success and survival in the face of unspeakable odds. We assure all these women and their families that the TRRC values their contribution to our work and that we will do everything in our power to ensure that they get the justice, healing, and reparations where appropriate as mandated by the Act establishing the TRRC. We have also started the process of identifying the burial locations of those soldiers that were killed on November 11, 1994. We hope to exhume the remains of these soldiers once we identify where their remains are. Finally, we are pleased to note that the TRRC hearings have generated widespread interest and are being closely followed by a large number of Gambians and the international community. The testimonies coming from our witnesses are revealing a history of injustice and human rights violations that many did not think possible in Gambian society. We assure the general public of the Commission's abiding gratitude for their kind support to our work and the victims and their families. We remain resolute in our determination to execute and fulfill our mandate to the best of our ability, and ultimately to assist our dear country on this difficult path to justice, healing, and reconciliation. As always, we continue to crave the public's continued support, understanding, and prayers. Thank you, and that's the end of the statement on behalf of the Commission as we proceed. Council, are we ready with this morning's witness?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, commissioners. Good morning to members of the audience. Yes, we are ready to proceed. The witness is in the waiting room.
May you please proceed to get him.
Usher, kindly bring in the witness, please.
I, Lamin Senghore,
I, Lamin Senghore,
do swear that
I
will speak the truth,
will speak the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me Allah.
Thank you.
Please take a seat, Mr. Senghore. Good morning, Mr. Witness. Welcome to the TRRC. My name is Esa Mbaifal. We have met previously. My responsibility today is to assist you to deliver your testimony before the TRRC. Do you understand?
Very well, sir.
You would recall that during our previous meetings, I had indicated to you that you have an obligation to speak the truth before this commission. Do you recall that?
Yes, Council.
This morning as well, you have taken an oath to speak the truth. Is that not the case?
Yes, Council.
May I remind you that under the laws of this country, lying under oath is a criminal offense called perjury. Do you understand that?
Very well, Council.
You may also wish to note that it is a criminal offense under the TRRC Act to lie to the TRRC.
Yes, I understood.
I therefore expect that the testimony you give before this commission would be truthful.
Yes, Council.
So now I would be asking you questions and you would answer. If you do not understand the question, please ask me to either explain it or to repeat the question. Do you understand?
Very well, sir.
We are calling you mainly to testify about a few discrete issues. You have been implicated, you have been mentioned as someone who participated in the beating of soldiers who were arrested during November 11. You were also alleged to have participated in the torture of Sana Sabali and Sadibu Haidara, and in the torture of members of the entourage who were arrested in January of 1995. And these include RSM Fai, RSM Sanyang, now Lieutenant Colonel Sanyang, as well as RSM Sise. Those are the main reasons why you are called to testify. But in addition to that, we know that you have information relating to the events of November 11. You have information relating to the junglers. You also have information or you have participated in the work of the NIA and the work of the drug squad, which participated in a lot of torture. And we would want you to talk about those issues as well. Do you understand?
Very well, Council.
Good. So let us start now. Kindly give us your full names, please.
My names are Lamin Senghore.
Are you known by any other names?
I have a nickname those days in the army. My home name is Pa. In the army, I used to be called the assassin.
So your name at home, nickname at home is Pa Senghore.
Yes,
But in the army, they call you the assassin.
yes,
Assassin meaning killer, right?
yes.
Kindly tell us your date of birth, please.
I was born on the 17th June 1973.
Whereabout?
I was born in Bakau.
Where did you go to school?
I was part of the first batch of Bakau Newtown Primary School, but we were housed in Bakau Primary because then the school complex was not ready. So in 1985, we were moved to where the present school is, but the same year I was transferred again to Albion Primary School where I sat my common entrance.
You thereafter went to St. Augustine Secondary School, correct?
Yes, correct.
And you finished your secondary school in 1991.
That's correct.
All right. So when did you join the army?
I joined the army in the same year, 1991.
When did you finish your training?
It took almost 6 months because the training was supposed to be around 4 months, some weeks. But in our last 2 weeks, the British then made an assessment, that is the final exams. Then they realized that most of the batch failed, and they cannot afford to release all of us and select a new batch. So decided to back squad us, that is, taking us back to the first 2 weeks of the training.
Ultimately, you finished the training in 1991.
Yes.
And in which company were you assigned to?
I was assigned at Yundum Barracks. The company then was Eco Company.
And who were your commanders?
Then I found Sub-Lieutenant Sow, Sub-Lieutenant Edward Singate. The company sergeant major was Jibril Sey, late now, and the company commander was Momodu Baji.
Do you recall where you were in July 22nd or July 21st, 1994?
Yes, I was at the barracks.
Kindly tell us what happened there.
I was part of a platoon to be headed by Sana Sabali, who were to reinforce the soldiers at the airport who went on guard of honor.
Yes, proceed, please.
So while we were there, we received a call that for us to stand down. So I automatically slept until when the soldiers were returning from the barracks. Because of their noise and shouting, I wake up again. Then we were falling, the whole battalion, everybody was falling. And we were asked to go home. Tomorrow morning, the battalion commander wants to see us, that is battalion master parade, without arms. So that rang a bell in me.
What were you supposed to do in that parade, the guard of honor at the airport?
So in case there was an attack, their intention, so in case it have fulfilled, we were to reinforce them.
Reinforce who?
Those who went on guard of honor.
What were they to do during that guard of honor?
That was the day planned the coup, 21st. So when it failed, and going by what we were told to fall in the following day without arms, that rang a bell to all of us.
And what by that you suggesting that it sent a statement, it sent a message to all of you. And what was that message?
How I understood it was maybe we will be arrested the following day. They have their list. Without arms, meaning some people will be more stronger than us who are not armed. So there and then they can go by their arrest through the list they have.
So after that meeting, that parade, you suspected that on the next day, some of you would be arrested.
That's correct.
And who gave you that information?
The boys told us. In fact, the RSM announced the parade, RSM 5, that the battalion commander want to see us, the Nigerian, Colonel Odu.
Okay. But your team, you were under Sana Sabali, which was a reserve team to go and reinforce those who were at the airport should they, or in the event that they started the coup.
That's correct.
But you received information to stand down.
That's correct.
Okay. So what happened after you were asked to go home? That afternoon, that period and the morning, what happened?
Before we left the barracks, word was being circulated that Edward Singate asked us to come back by midnight. Those days he was my platoon commander. So I personally went to him and told him that, well, for me I cannot come back because I was penniless at that time. I have to pay double fares from Yundum to Serekunda, Serekunda to Bakau, so I can't make it at that time of the night. So he gave me a $25. Those days, that one way will be $5, $2, $3 from Yundum to Serekunda, $2 from Serekunda to Bakau. So meaning he can only spare me $10 out of that 25 and make strong emphasis that I should return his change the following day, that is the $15.
He was that broke?
Not that. We were very poor then. Imagine an officer, if an officer can emphasize on it $15. How about people like me, a private soldier?
Did you eventually go to the barracks?
Yes, I took the money, went home, put a civilian dress in my bag so in case things fall apart. Even my mom was suspicious. He told me that this have never happened. I said, yes, we are on a standby. So I went to the barracks. People start coming.
What time did you go to the
After
barracks?
midnight. So it's there I came to learn that the late Almamo Mane have duplicated the old armory key. That is, the weapons that are no more used, they pack them separately from the new ones and the heavy ones. So when he opened that armory, we armed ourselves with old rifles. Ammunition boxes were removed, so everybody feed your magazine, waiting for time. So early in the morning, there was no driver to be seen, and all the trucks, like it was like they steered the steering wheel till it ends, then they lock the steering wheel, so nobody can drive those trucks. So we went outside on the highway, hijacked 2 trucks, and brought them to the barracks. I remember it was even driven by a mechanic. So when I boarded the truck, the second truck, it was 2 trucks. One is to go to Fajara Barracks, the other one is to go to Banjul. So Edward Singate came and told me to come down from the truck. He showed me a pickup and said I should load that pickup with reserve ammunition, so in case there is contact, we will still have ammunition.
What time are you talking about?
This will be around 8, 9.
At this stage, did any officers arrive at the barracks?
Well, I can only remember the council members.
Apart from the council members, did any officer arrive at the barracks? An officer who
Yes.
was not a member
Yes.
of the coupists?
Yes.
Can you tell us about it?
This was in an earlier time, just after 6 to 7. The adjutant came, Sirif Gomez. He used to come very early to work. So when he came, Edward halted him and asked him not to move. So the adjutant stood.
Which Edward are you
Edward
referring to?
Singate.
Please proceed.
So when Edward requested for the new armory key, the adjutant told him over his dead body. So Edward used like pointing a pistol. Normally a rifle will be fired with 2 hands. But this time around, Edward used 1 hand to fire that AK. The bullet fell in between the legs of Sirif Gomez. When Sirif bent down, he saw the dust. We used to have a saying, when a bullet talks, mouth don't talk.
Could you say that again?
We used to have a saying in the army then, that when a bullet talks, a mouth doesn't talk. So the moment Sirif saw the dust in between the legs, he just put his hand inside and threw the new armory key, and we were like jubilant, because we know there is no force in Gambia that can stop us now.
Why were you jubilant?
Sorry?
Why were you jubilant?
Because we know that we will now access these new weapons, including heavy weapons, rocket propelled grenade. So when we handle this, there is no force in Gambia that can stop us.
And now that you have received the armory keys, what did you do?
Everybody went in for your personal weapon.
And tell us what happened after that.
I went in for my machine gun because I was a gunner. So
What do you mean by a machine gun? Can you tell us about this type of weapon?
these weapons are designed to give firepower to any engaging soldiers, being it from the section level, platoon level, company level, or even battalion level, because it fires rapidly.
You said a machine gun.
Yes.
What is the official name of this machine gun?
It differs. You have other machine guns that are called LMG, light machine gun. You have what you call GPMG, general purpose machine gun, which I was handling.
And this machine gun, what is the weight?
Well, I can estimate it to be like maybe 7 kgs.
7 kilograms. Okay. And what kind of bullets does it use?
It uses a bigger caliber.
And the magazine?
No, this doesn't use a magazine. It uses drums. You call it drums.
And how heavy is this drum?
Maybe 1.5, maybe.
So the drum plus the machine gun would be about 8 kilograms. Okay.
So, sorry, this weapon is designed for the use of 2 people. You have the loader and the firer. But this,
that is when it is actually being operated.
yes, that is how it is made. It is to be used by 2 people. A
And
loader and a firer.
can you give us, can you explain what would be the responsibilities of the 2 people, the individual responsibilities
One
of the
will
2 people?
be firing the weapon, while the other one will be loading for him, because it is in a belt from the ammunition. So if it is not controlled, it can jam in the chamber. So this one have to be controlling the belt, so that the belt will be entering the cartridge smoothly while the firer is firing.
But even at that, one person can still operate it
Yes.
by using one arm to control the belt.
Yes.
All right. So the need for another person to support would just be to change the belt when one belt finishes, to load it pretty much.
Not actually. Mostly the firer will do that. The loader's responsibility is only to make sure the belt enters the chamber smoothly.
And if the firer can't do that, the need for another person wouldn't be there.
It's very minimal.
Very minimal. And certainly it's not just to carry, because it's about 8 kilos at most. All right. So this is the weapon that you took.
Yes.
All right. And tell us what happened after that.
What happened after that, when I boarded the truck and I was asked to come down by Edward Singate, he instructed me to load a pickup with reserve ammunition in case of contact. So they left the barracks before me. So when I reached the Denton Bridge, at the KMC end of the bridge, I found soldiers on the prone position. So I couldn't understand why. So the first person I met, I asked him, what is going on? He said the other side of the bridge, that is the Banjul end, is occupied by the Zandam commandos. And they said that if anybody attempts to cross the bridge, they will fire you. So I then asked the boy, so now what? He was even annoyed. He wanted to shout on me, or he was annoyed about my inquiries. He told me, boy, hey, we are working on orders. If they didn't give the order, how can we go? So I just took my machine gun, start moving. So
Towards where?
Towards Banjul. So I moved at a certain level. I turned back and saw now soldiers have started getting up. So the gendarmes were threatening us. If you move, we fire. I said, fire. If you fail, I fire. So they were entering the river till around knee level. Maybe they know they cannot continue going, so they surrendered.
So you're suggesting that you went kamikaze along the road towards Banjul, and you threatened the gendarmerie with your machine gun.
No, they threatened me to stop. If I don't stop, they will fire.
And you responded that if they do not succeed,
they can fire. If they fail, I will fire also.
And ultimately they surrendered.
Yes.
That is your testimony.
Yes.
And that is how you guys had access to the bridge.
Yes.
That is what you are telling the commission.
Yes.
Mr. Witness, we've had completely different testimony. The testimony is that Yaya Jammeh negotiated with Armiao. That was Captain Suare. And Captain Suare asked his men to surrender and join the coupists. No mention of Lamin Senghore acting kamikaze, lone soldier getting the gendarmerie to surrender. What do you say to that?
I still maintain my statement, Counsel.
That it was your show of bravery and brandishing a machine gun which led the gendarmerie to surrender? That's what you're telling us?
Yes, the side I was on, because I was around the swampy area.
But do you recall giving us a statement, which you in fact signed this morning?
Yes.
Let me send it back to you to take a look at. Is that the statement?
Yes, this is my statement.
That's the statement you signed
Yes.
this morning.
Yes.
go through the pages and satisfy yourself that this is in fact the document? That's the statement, correct?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Chair, at the end of his testimony, we would ask to put in the statement as part of the record. We would give you the exhibit number if you so agree to add it into the record.
Agreed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May I draw your attention to paragraph 4, please, of the statement?
Yes.
And I will just read out the relevant excerpt very quickly. You said somewhere in the middle of paragraph 4, that is page 5 of the statement, and I read the sentence starting with, then we departed. They then departed before I finished loading the pickup. It's in the middle of the page. Can you see it?
Yes.
And you went on to say as follows, and I quote, they then departed before I finished loading the pickup, and I later caught up with them at the Combo side of Denton Bridge. Full stop. That's correct, isn't it?
Yes.
That's what you told the investigators.
Yes.
Then it went on to say, I asked the one soldier who I cannot recall about what was happening, and he told me that the gendarmerie commandos were on the other side of the bridge and wouldn't allow them to cross. After some negotiations between our leaders and the leaders of the gendarmerie, we finally crossed the bridge and were also joined by the gendarmerie, unquote. That's your statement, isn't it?
Yes.
So this story about assassin walking along the road, lone soldier brandishing a machine gun, telling those soldiers that if you shoot and don't succeed, I will shoot, and that led them to surrender, is in fact not true.
Yes.
Why are you telling us that story, knowing fully well it's not true? Could you give back the statement, please? I again warn you that this is not a circus. You have to be truthful. If you're not truthful, you could land yourself in trouble. So continue with your story. What happened after you crossed the bridge?
We headed to Banjul and arrived at the grave, the Christian cemetery. We found another batch of gendarmes. This time around it was headed by Alaji Martin. So it was very easy for Lieutenant Jammeh to convince Alaji Martin. Then Alaji Martin instructed his men to surrender.
Proceed, please.
Then the group was divided into two. One headed by Lieutenant Jammeh, and they used the Marina Parade Road. The other group was headed by Edward Singate, that took the Independence Drive. So I was part of that group. Then we went through the Market Highway to the main gate of the State House.
What happened after that?
After what happened was we took cover because all gates were closed. Then a soldier, I think then he was a Staff Sergeant Bakari Kamara, he came out and asked us what our problem was. So I was trying to threaten him, but it doesn't work. Then later Musa Jame came and said he's having a key to the small door. Then it was open. That's the door we used and enter. Then we meet up with Yaya Jame's group also, who entered through the back gate around the guard room.
That effectively sealed the fate of the PPP government, didn't it?
Yes.
After the success of the July 22nd coup, where were you posted?
I was at the State Guards,
Where was the State Guards based?
in the State House.
And who was your immediate commander?
I think, if I have it right, it was one Lieutenant Mendy. Papo, they call him Papo. If I could recall. He was the first State Guard commander after the takeover.
By November 1994, where were you based?
At the State House.
Do you recall the events of November 11, 1994?
Yes.
Before we get to that, let me take your mind back a little bit to July 22nd. From the bridge, how did you manage to reach State House in Banjul?
By foot, we walked.
You walked all the way, carrying your machine gun.
Yes.
How many drums did you carry?
I removed all and arranged the belt and placed it in my haversack.
Rambo style, correct? That was Rambo style, correct? You have the belt over your neck and your shoulder as depicted in Rambo movies, correct?
Correct.
In fact, that is a way of reducing the weight, isn't it?
Yes.
And that's the way you would normally do it.
Yes.
It's in fact a little more frightening to your opponents, isn't it?
No, it can also help me not to use the loader. The loader can do something else.
So that makes it easy for one person to operate this machine gun.
Yes.
It's convenient, it reduces the weight. So because of that, you were able to walk from, where did the vehicle drop you off in July 22nd?
Just before where I found those soldiers.
Which would be Kamalo or Denton Bridge?
No, it's Denton Bridge.
Okay. So you walked all the way to State House?
Yes.
Good. So now let's talk about November 11th. I have been asked by the technicians to hold on a second. Thank you very much. So now let's take you to November 11. Kindly tell us what happened from November 10, 1994 onwards.
Prior to November 10th, there were rumors circulating that officers from Fajara Barracks and Yundum are planning to counter the junta.
How did you get that information?
I personally talked to my class. He was a cadet officer then, Cadet Amadou Silla. So during greetings, he told me in Manika, I'll be jailing Kai Koyesa. Akonyoko yo I'll see Mbanal Taralaje. So that was how myself confirmed that the rumor I was hearing was true.
Can you translate for us what he said? Interpret what he said.
You people are there, I said yes. He said, okay, wait for us there, we'll come for you.
Did you discuss what he meant by that?
No, I understood it because prior to talking to him, rumors were circulating.
Rumors of coup?
Yes, of a counter.
So from what he said, you believe he was referring to a counter coup that they were organizing. That's what you believed.
Most importantly, after he told me this, all heavy weapons that were mounted on defensive positions, the ammunitions were changed. If you make ready a weapon, normally the rounds will base in the chamber. But this time around, if you make the weapon ready, the round will be extracted out immediately because of it is a smaller caliber to that particular weapon. So there is when all of us believe that, yeah, this was true.
And what happened after that?
What happened
After
after
you realized that the ammunitions were being changed?
The situation was addressed and the proper ammunitions were brought in again.
So tell us about November 11, what happened that night?
The council members came by between after 8 towards midnight
Where did they come?
from their individual homes
To where?
to the State House.
Can you tell us which council members came?
Edward Singate, Sana Sabali, Sadibu Haidara, and Yankuba Ture.
Did they come alone?
They came with their orderlies.
Do you know any of them?
Most of them.
Kindly tell us who they were.
For the orderlies of Sana Sabali, I can remember JCB,
Full name, please.
John C.B. Mendy.
Carry on.
I can remember Sow, but the first name I cannot know.
So was with who?
Sow was with Sadibu.
Please
I can
proceed.
remember Seko Jasi, he was also with Sadibu. I can remember Mustafa Ture, nickname Churo.
With who?
Nickname Churo.
With who?
If I am correct, I think Mustafa was with Sadibu also.
Proceed.
So when they came,
And how about Sana Sabali?
Sana, I think Alfuseni Suso was with him, JCB. Yeah, this I can recall.
Do you know whether a Njai,
Jai, yes, Jai.
which Njai?
Jai Ponkal.
Any other Njai with him?
I think there used to be another Njai Baba Njai, if I am correct.
And how about for Edward Singate?
There was this Bakari Jiba, Baj Samba as a driver,
who?
Baj Samba Jalo as a driver, one Fiat colored sergeant from SAO, Fati, Sergeant Fati.
And what was his first name?
Lamin Fati. Then you have Marena. The first name I forgot. Short guy.
And for Yankuba Ture?
Today Esa was with him.
Esa who?
Esa Mendy.
Esa or Ensa?
Ensa.
Good.
And I think one Jalimusaso also.
Okay, essentially those were the people. Did they come with any other people apart from this group?
No, each came with his own orderly.
And tell us what happened when they arrived at State House.
They went upstairs, discussed with the chairman, then they came back and a falling was called.
Who was the chair? Who are you referring to as the chairman?
Lieutenant Yaya Jame. Then when a falling was called, we all assembled, and Edward said that they need volunteers because according to the rumor that was going, these people are planning to attack. So before we wait to be attacked, let's take the attack to them. So he asked for volunteers. Then a number of people came out, including me.
How many came out?
I can estimate almost a platoon,
Which is how many men?
40 something men.
That is, a platoon is not 40 something men.
This,
A platoon would be about 30 men. Correct?
it will be.
So 40 something men would be a bit of an exaggeration, wouldn't it?
No, I'm not exaggerating.
Okay, so your estimate is
That's my
that
estimate.
there were about 40 something men.
Correct.
Does this group include the council members and their orderlies? So these 40 something men, where did they come from?
They are all state guards.
All the state guards volunteered?
Yes. Because according to the rumor, we were to be attacked by both Fajara barracks and Yunum barracks. So obviously, these two barracks members cannot be present at the State House at that time.
So you and your colleagues volunteered?
Yes.
So what happened after you all fell in and decided to volunteer? What happened?
We moved towards Yundum barracks via Banjolonde.
And did you at any point in time take weapons?
Yes, I was with my personal weapon.
And tell us how that happened, how people got armed?
Everybody is with your arm. Nobody shares weapon with another. So whereas if the weapon is not with you, it will be in the armory. And you are the only person who is authorized to sign out that particular weapon because it's your personal weapon.
On this particular occasion, did you sign out weapons?
My GPMG.
Could you say again?
My GPMG.
Did you guys have to sign out weapons at this for this particular occasion?
No, I particularly don't need to sign out because I'm always with my weapon.
Could you explain what you mean by that?
I mean, I particularly, on that particular day, I don't need to sign out a weapon because I was already with my weapon.
From when?
From the armory.
When did you take that weapon from the armory?
This was well before the council members came.
Tell us what time.
Like I said, the council members came by between 8 onwards, but this weapon was with me throughout the day.
Throughout the day, you carried this weapon?
It was with me. If it is not used actively, I will put it under the mattress in the guard room, like if I want to go somewhere.
It's not such a big weapon. It is a weapon you can put under the mattress.
It's a big weapon.
But how can you put it under the mattress?
Yes, it's possible. Anybody who doesn't want to go out with your weapon, you normally put it, especially on the bed that you slept on. It will be under the mattress.
Show us by demonstration, show of hands.
The length will be like this. So obviously you can just raise the mattress and put it under. Even though if somebody is passing can know that there is a weapon, especially of that caliber.
So did it have a tripod or it didn't?
It did.
Did you have the tripod mounted or you didn't?
No.
So you just carried it like a normal gun?
It is bendable. You can bend it. If you want to use it, you have to open it.
Normally, how would you fire such a weapon?
In the prone position.
What?
In the prone position.
What is that? Educate us.
Lying down, normally.
So that's the only way. That's the way you normally.
No, that's not the only way. You can fire it on the move also.
And it's not a problem firing it on the move.
Yes, because it's very heavy. You need to be very strong to fire it on the move.
Yes, but you've already told us it's with the magazine and all, with the bullets and all, it weighs about 8 kilos. So 8 kilos, even a child can carry 8 kilos. So for you, on that particular occasion, how were you firing your weapon?
On the move.
On the move. It wasn't a problem.
No.
Good. So on that day, your testimony is that the soldiers already had their weapons anyway. So there was no issuance of weapons.
Some might be issued, but not to my knowledge anyway.
As far as you know, were any new weapons issued to the group on that day?
Yes, I've seen new weapons, especially with the Atlas.
But these new weapons were not distributed to your group.
Well before now.
That is your testimony.
Yes, I've seen new weapons, but not with me. Mostly with the Atlas. That was the first time I've seen the weapons that you want to ask.
And what were those type of weapons?
They are PGL.
What is PGL?
Portable grenade launchers.
Of
It's an AK. It is also an AK-47, but this thing was attached on the weapon, so it can launch a grenade, portable grenade launcher, but it's an AK.
But for you, you carried your favorite machine gun.
Yes.
Good. And tell us how you were deployed from State House to wherever you were going.
With the means of vehicles,
Yes.
we moved towards Yundum Barracks via Banjolonde.
How many vehicles?
This will be 6 to 7 vehicles, because all the council members were in their vehicles.
And that would be 4 vehicles,
For the
right?
council members.
Plus 2, 3 other vehicles for the rest of the soldiers.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So tell us who led the group?
It was led by Sana Sabali, being the senior man.
So tell us what happened from the point you left State House.
We left State House via Banjolonding up to a certain point. We stopped. This was like the former president's garden, Jawara, at the fence of that garden. So while we were making plans, we saw a darkness coming. So a soldier straightened his leg. That soldier who was coming kicked the leg of this soldier and fell down. So he was kept on the ground. Then he was the one who told us that they are preparing in the barracks and he don't want to be part of it. So he was released to go. And I was instructed by Edward, me and another soldier called Yunus Abari, to go and make a recce in the barracks.
What do you mean by to make a recce in the barracks?
To simplify it, surveillance.
The reconnaissance mission to the
Exactly.
barracks. That is to go and check what is happening
What is
in the
happening
barracks
there.
and come and report back.
Yes.
That's right. Did you go at all?
Yes, we went. On our way, we saw that similar darkness. You know, in the darkness, if you see an object, especially a human being, you will know that there is something there. So we saw another one. I and Yunus Abari took cover. We applied the same method, and we got that soldier also on the ground. This soldier became somebody I knew very well because he calls me uncle because the mom is the same tribe with me. And he told me that he is also going away because he don't want to be part of what is happening in the barracks. So I advised him not to take the road leading to the right because taking the right will take you to Banjolonding and he might fall in the trap of the council members. So I advised him to take the road on the left and he escaped. Then we came back, we saw movements in the barracks, we came back and gave that situation report. So I even recommend to use the back gate going to the primary school.
And then what happened after that?
And we all advanced towards that location and entered through the back gate going to the primary school. As we reached the first sanga, that is the defensive position, The soldier was caught on surprise because the moment he saw Edward and his color, he cannot react. So he was disarmed together with those we found there. Then we replaced the sentries with our own personnel, that is the people that came from State House. That's the method we use and disarm everybody within the barracks and place in our own sentries. Then all these sentries who were arrested because we didn't trust, so we just, put all of them in the cells.
And what happened after that? What time, in fact, what time did you arrive at the barracks?
This will be maybe shortly after midnight.
Okay, so what happened after the sentries were arrested, chained, and the arrested sentries put in the cells? What happened after that?
The lights in the barracks were put on off, and we waited. For some time, when going to the barracks, either coming from Brikama or Combo N, you have to go in either left or right. If you are coming from Brikama, you enter through the left. Coming from the Combo N, you enter through the right. So the moment we saw lights, we automatically knew that there is a vehicle coming. So everybody took position. This was a blue Pajero. I was inside around the guard room area. So the moment the person arrived, he alighted the vehicle and said, "Gentlemen, are you ready for my operation?" So Sana Sabali responded, that sharp, small voice, "Yes, we are only waiting for you." The guy froze. He cannot even act because he didn't.
Who was this guy?
This was Lieutenant Basiru Baro. Baro came with others, but I cannot remember. He was not alone in his vehicle. But they were all arrested at the spot and parked in the cells. So this time around, I went towards...
Beaten or not beaten?
No, they were just arrested because that time things were not settled yet. Then this time around, the second vehicle, when it was coming, I was already outside the barracks, but not far from the gate, when we saw the lights again. So everybody took cover. But when this vehicle came, the second one, they knew it earlier because outside the street lights were on. So things can be easily visible, unlike inside the barracks it's dark. So I saw Sergeant L.F. Jamme was the first person to open the gate, roll and took a firing position, and he opened fire. So that's where everything got loose. So I saw him running, including Lamin Jaju and Sergeant Juf. So while people were concentrating on these people escaping, in fact they are not even concentrating, they were firing at them.
Did you fire?
No, I didn't fire a single shot in Yundum barracks.
Okay.
So because of this, it helped me to detect somebody. He came together with that vehicle, and he was almost gone. Hadn't been, the boots were not outside, I wouldn't have seen him.
Where exactly did you see him?
This was on the highway. There was a neem tree that was cut, but it have started bringing new leaves. So the guy took cover in these leaves. So when I saw the boots, I know that this is a soldier and it's not safe for me to go in front of him. He might be armed. I presume he might be armed. So I came through his legs, follow his body with the muzzle of my weapon up to his head. I just touched the head, then he turned around. When he turned, I recognized him, and I was even surprised. I told him, "Class, what are you doing here?" "You are a clerk, you shouldn't be on operations." But I turned my back to see whether people were watching at me. I know that yes, they have seen what I was seeing. Because the moment I make the action, people concentrate on me.
And who was this person?
This was A.J. Dabo, Abdullah J. Dabo. I regret that up to today, because if they didn't see me, I would have let him go, because he's my badge mate.
Take this story again. Tell us what happened after LF and Jaju ran away, how did you detect Abdullah AJJ Dabo?
I saw combat boots. I saw a combat boots and I know that this must be a soldier.
Where did you see the combat boots?
The combat boots was obvious, but the body was already inside that bushy tree.
So you saying that he was hiding in the shrubs? That's what you're saying?
Yes. But
And
he
that
was not
his
fully-
boots were visible from where you were standing?
Yes.
And then what did you do?
So when I know that there is nothing can be done,
No, from the moment you saw the boots, you did not see the body, but you saw the boots.
Yes.
What did you do?
I came through his back, follow from his boots going to his upper body. When I reached the head, I touched the head with my muscle, with the muscle of my weapon. So he turned around. That's the time I recognized him.
And you recognized him as who?
AJ Dabo.
And what did you say to him?
That, what are you doing here? You are a clerk, you shouldn't be on operations. But it was like, it was late for me. It was an unfortunate situation anyway.
So you arrested him?
I arrested him.
And you handed him over?
Correct.
And what happened to him when you handed him over?
He was also detained where the rest were.
Did they beat him?
Not in my presence.
Nothing happened to him?
At that moment.
At that moment?
Yes.
Until he was handed over? Until he was taken to the cells?
Yes.
Nothing happened to him?
Nothing happened.
He was your class, you wanted to save him, but you know that others were there, they saw you and him. That's your testimony?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, it is 5 minutes to the first break. So if the commissioners want to ask questions, they may. Otherwise, I can push it, or I'll just leave it here until after the break, and then I continue with the questioning.
Would you rather stop at the moment? Or
Yes, I'd rather stop here in the absence of any questions from the commissioner.
Commissioners, if you don't have any questions, we would take a 30-minute break, and when we come back, you resume your question in council.
Thank you.
Is that okay?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Splendid. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.